entertainmentbuddha.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Thrones Time. That's right, we're finally back. We've all been kind of hibernating as we await the 8th season of Game of Thrones on HBO, which is going to hit the streaming service. It is a streaming service at this point, basically, right? On April 14th. I believe that's the exact date, if not, sue me. So why are we firing up the mics? Well, my friends, if you are a Game of Thrones fanatic like myself, Keith, and Nick, that's right, we've got the Holy Trinity on the cast tonight, the triumvirate. We're all here. We all cleared our schedules. We're all ready to rock and roll to talk about the thing that brought us together on this night. A cold night, that is. Winter is definitely fucking here in North America still. But that is the release of the first official trailer, and probably the only official real deal trailer for Game of Thrones Season 8. All right, boys, so We broke down the symbolism trailer. We broke down the trailer that was literally just a CG warboard, down at Dragonstone. But now finally, what is it, maybe 6 weeks out, we got a tangible trailer that actually had footage from the season. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. That is our muse, if you will, for this episode of Thrones Time. We need to practice because we're getting ready to gear back up to doing weekly breakdowns of the new episodes come the 14th. Our man Nick, the Mix Master, he went ahead and Cliff's noted the trailer for us, so he's got it broken down, and we're just going to work through it, people. We're going to work through it top to bottom. Nick's already got some points for us to work off of. You never know, we may go on a tangent. There's a good chance Star Wars may even be brought up tonight because I am on the podcast, and I have a real problem with Star Wars, especially when a mic's on. All right, fellas, so I guess first and foremost, happy trailer week, right? I mean, that was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, and what is it with Mark Hamill? I mean, he wants... Oh, sorry, is this the wrong one? sorry.
I know, dude.
I saw Star Wars news earlier about Mark Hamill. I had to throw it in there.
Yeah. Yep, he's trolling just as bad as the trolls, but I'll save that for Friday. So that was pretty cool. I mean, I'm not as attuned to the Thrones verse as I am Star Wars, so I didn't know if there was chatter that this could be coming out. I mean, we got the article, I think it was Monday. You could tell EW was allowed to release their big expose on the season, but then Tuesday, just kind of unassuming around noon, we get the trailer.
Yeah, I was surprised that it was just kind of a random day at a random time. I was at work, and I get a text from someone that said, "Hey, did you see the new Game of Thrones trailer?" I was like, "What? What happened? What's going on? Now? Already?"
Yeah, in our chat, I believe I dropped some great English, and I just put, "Fuck, the trailer just dropped." Yeah, so that was 11 o'clock yesterday. So yeah, 11 a.m. HBO drops this thing. Keith, I mean, did you expect it to be coming? I mean, was it on your radar, or did it kind of catch you by surprise like Nick and myself?
No, it was definitely a surprise thing. I think kind of along the lines of what you guys are saying, I was maybe thinking that there was going to be some sort of, I don't know, fanfare or like having the trailer attached to something. I have no idea what, but attached to something and not just 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. Like it was totally. Just Tuesday, and then all of a sudden it was Game of Thrones trailer day.
I guess I give him credit for not trying to, cause more hype than it needs. I mean, it's just like sometimes you got to wonder, I mean, do they even need to spend marketing for a Marvel movie or a Star Wars movie? In this case, for Game of Thrones. I mean, the audience is built in, the hype's built in. I'm glad we did get the trailer, though, because we've been talking as we've done these random Thrones times, like, it'd be awesome to actually get something tangible to speculate on instead of, luckily we got Keith, and he got all symbolic on our asses with that one trailer. But outside what we got this week, we've had nothing. Nick and I talked about the generic headshots the last Thrones time, and that's what they were. Generic headshots. They showed nothing. But now we have something. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up Nick's notes here. Nick, why don't you go ahead and kind of kick this off with the first beat we get in the trailer, and that is Arya seemingly running for her life and scared shitless as if she never trained to be a faceless man.
Yeah. So given Arya's story and her travels and her experiences thus far, I can't imagine there's much of anything that would really cause her to get spooked. And as we see in the opening of the trailer, she's gasping, she's running. You can see some blood kind of pouring from her head a little bit. So the fact that she is running and panting, and it looks like, in my estimation, it is the Crypts of Winterfell, something has her shook. And there's a couple options that immediately come to mind. One is, obviously, in the Crypts of Winterfell are the remains of her family, the Starks.
Right.
You know, Ned, Lyanna. As far as we know, Cat is not in there. But if those tombs or those stone tombs were starting to shake and rumble, because the Night King is close, and anytime the Night King is close, all he has to do is raise his arms in the "come at me, bro" gesture, and the dead rise. So
that's his superpower. Come at me, bro. And
exactly.
Javelin throwing, Olympics.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yes. He is an excellent javelin thrower. So that could be an option. I know that was a theory that's kind of been going around the internet since the trailer released. It could be the Night King himself, or one of his White Walker lieutenants that she sees. As she's running through the crypts, we hear her voiceover. She talks about how she's basically excited to see the face of death this time around and see who it is. So I'm, as far as the trailer goes, that's one of the most curious things for me that I'm excited to see.
And Keith, didn't we, when we broke down the symbolism trailer, didn't we kind of float the idea that maybe some of the dead Starks could come back to life?
We did. We talked about it, and I feel like I said something along the lines of not necessarily buying it.
Right.
I mean, I get the argument. I think it
would work. It
point.
would work within the universe at least. I mean, it wouldn't be like, oh wow, that's pretty fucking convenient. I mean, as Nick said, I mean, he really does just go like, huh, and they'll just pop right up. So
yeah. But like the dead Starks aren't the only things that Arya might have to be worrying about.
Right.
It definitely looks like I mean, shit, man. Who knows what she's running from? But there's gonna be plenty to run from.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that level of tear on someone that tough, who's gone through so much shit, I don't know. It almost has to be the Night King, or maybe Headless Ned. Maybe he's like running around going like boo, boo, holding his head.
That's the thing. The last time she saw her father, he was getting his head cut off. You know, to see his bones or his remains come back, that'd be pretty scary, I think.
Either way, it's bad news. I mean, we can pretty much admit at this point, what we've seen now with Winterfell and what's going on there, Winterfell's fucked. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's got no chance. And I said it offline. This is just reading other people's thoughts and looking at who's directing what episodes, and we know this one guy's directing the Battle of Winterfell. I mean, that came out earlier this week. It's going to be massive, the longest battle in cinematic history, longer in Helm's Deep, yada, yada, yada. All these characters are going to be together. But the guy directing, he's only directing episode 3 and 5, and I read some guy, I believe the dude you shared, Nick, from The Ringer, was pretty much saying, well, then the Battle of Winterfell is going to happen episode 3. Because we believe, he believes, and I buy into it, that this battle is going to be a loss for the good guys.
Yeah, and if you think about it, too, we know the run times of the shows, or of the episodes. The first 2 episodes are 60 minutes. The third episode is when it bumps up to 80. Exactly. So it could very well fit into that third episode realm there.
Sure.
Yeah, so and that's really the general gist of this trailer. I believe was the Battle of Winterfell. I mean, we saw some other stuff that hinted that maybe Jon and Dany could be north of the Wall, but so moving on, that's good breakdown of that first segment there. I mean, the last half of that is as Arya's doing her voiceover and talking about meat and death, this, that, and the other thing. They really focus in on the fact that she's holding dragon glass, and as Nick kind of brought up offline, she also has Valyrian steel on her too, with that dagger that was used to try to kill Bran, right?
Right. Yeah, the cat's paw dagger, which she has held on to since Littlefinger gave to her, what she used to kill Littlefinger, is Valyrian steel. So that, whether she knows it yet or not, is a force to be reckoned with against the Whites and the White Walkers.
And they were mining a bunch of it in season 7, right? I mean, Dany eventually did give her blessing to mine that shit.
The dragon glass, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it's the steel that I've heard people floating the idea. Well, maybe Gendry and them will learn how to forge Valyrian again. It's like, that's getting a little minutia. I don't know if they're gonna fuck with that with just 6 episodes, but you never know. So. Moving on, the first time I had to rewind this. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Is that fucking Jaime on a Greyjoy ship?" Because you remember Jaime used to wear the golden armor, and I was like, "No, dummy, we know who that is. That's the Golden Company, right?" So we get a good sprawling shot of the Golden Company being brought over by Euron. I don't know. I mean, 3 ships. Did we just get a taste of the size of the Golden Company, or is it going to be bigger?
I can't help but think it's going to be bigger.
You would think,
yeah.
or I mean, I would almost think Jon would laugh at this when they marched up there. Like, you only brought 3 ship worths of Golden Company people. I mean, come on.
Especially with the size of the loan that Cersei had to take out to buy the Golden Company.
Right.
Like, it can't be just 3 ships worth of soldiers. Like, sure, that's not anything to scoff at, but that's also... it wasn't enough for Stannis to take the Blackwater.
Hell no. So I guess more importantly, guys, and Nick, what's your thought? Who is the guy that was kind of in the power position, the captain position? We only saw his back.
Yeah. So that, based on research and from what I've read, is Harry Strickland. Not the most Game of Thrones-ish name out there.
I read that the first time, I was like, is Nick just like naming people in his family or something? Like
my first thought is that he's a soccer player over in England. That's the perfect soccer player name. But yeah, so basically he's the leader of this giant sellsword army that is the Golden Company. I almost said Golden Compass. That's not it. But I just looked it up real quick because I knew there was a number out there. It's estimated there are about 10,000 sellswords in the Golden Company.
Right. So maybe we didn't see the full fleet, or
right.
Maybe they were saving on VFX budget. But I was like, that's a little weak. But who is that guy? So we think he's Harry. Was Harry established in the books, Nick? I'm drawing a blank on this guy.
I think that's where he comes from, because the Golden Company's mentioned in the show multiple times, but we don't actually see them. We don't really know anything about them other than I think Dario had been part of the Golden Company at one point. He kind of says it in passing to Dany earlier in the show, but other than that, we don't know a whole lot about it. So I was really excited to see them. I was like you. I thought at first it was Jaime, and I was like, wait a second, that's not right. That's not him. And then after doing a little bit of digging and reading, it looks like it certainly is the Golden Company.
And do you think they're? I guess there's I don't know. Do you think they're headed right to King's Landing to then march up to Winterfell, or do you think they're going halfway? I mean, where do you think these guys are headed?
Well, we see a brief clip of Cersei waiting what looks like on the docks with Qyburn and the mountain. Yeah. So my guess is she's waiting for them to arrive in King's Landing. Now, to mix it with another quick clip, there is an empty throne room basically, and it looks like Cersei is talking with what could be this Harry Strickland and Euron, but the throne room is empty itself. So whether some of the sellswords go to King's Landing or just the leaders do at this time, I'm not sure. But my guess is at least some of them end up in King's Landing.
I don't know, man. I mean, they're sellswords. You never know about these guys. And the first time they see the Army of the Dead, they may turn tail quick. But I mean, it at least confirmed it, and we knew it was going to happen. I mean, she told us. But John and Danny and the people in the North will be fighting a two-front war, essentially. The one front we know they're probably going to get decimated on. I mean, they really have no shot coming from the Night King, at least as it's been presented so far. I mean, maybe the big MacGuffin's still out there. You know, they're going to pull out a lightsaber and they win. Who knows? But we really, you got to think like they have literally no hope of winning at this point unless some fucking crazy magic goes on.
Yeah,
he can steal dragons. He can convert them. I mean, even the two dragons, I don't even see as big as a threat as I initially thought dragons would be.
Yeah. I mean, once the Night King got his own dragon, you're like, all right, this might not be quite as not that it was going to be an easy fight anyway, but you think with 3 good dragons, they just run through and just burn everybody.
Right.
But now they're going to have to battle.
Yeah, all it takes is homeboy to bust out his javelin, and there we go. Now he's got the majority.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think they're just going to mow over Winterfell. I mean, obviously they're going to put up a great fight, but I'd say at least 1 or 2 named characters doesn't make it out, and the rest need to, tuck tail and head south, and they'll probably run into another blade saw. Until everything catches up with the land of the living. Okay, so yeah, this was a good one here, Nick. And I know we debated this at the end of season 7, which honestly feels like 5 years ago now at this point. But it's confirmed. Tormund, Beric, and Ed are still alive. And I know we were like, they have to be alive. They didn't show it. They're too big of characters to just get an off-screen death. And it's confirmed they're back. But where they're going or how the hell they're going to get there without getting slaughtered, who knows?
Yeah, I was glad to see that flaming sword.
That is excellent. I'm a big fan of How to Train Your Dragon series too, and Hiccup creates a flaming sword in that. And I always think back to Lord Beric Dondarrion.
I appreciated seeing Tormund's flaming head of hair.
Yeah, man. That's one of the sexiest redheads out there.
I just want enough time for them to survive that him and Brienne can hook up. That's really just what I root for.
Totally. I mean, if anyone makes it, those two have to make it. I mean, outside of shipping John and Danny, I mean, they have to be right up there. And we're all sick for wanting John and Danny to be together anyways, now that we know they're related. So we almost have to pass it on to Tormund and Brienne. Little giant babies, little wildling babies. They could definitely make a football team.
Yeah.
Or basketball. You never know. Okay, so the big one, the big 2, if you will. We definitely checked in with Danny and John and their dragons, or her dragons for now. I love the shot of the dragons buzzing Winterfell and, the amazement of Sansa. That was great. You saw the Unsullied coming in. So I think, as you mentioned here, Nick, Danny and John, they're in the crypts. Run with that, the way you kind of noted it out.
Yeah, so basically here we obviously don't know at this point what John knows about his lineage. We don't know if Bran has or Sam have yet told John who his true parents are. But it's purely speculative and purely understandable to think that this conversation, in the Crypts of Winterfell in the series, all serious conversations in Winterfell take place in the crypts, where people don't want others to hear. It's solemn. They're always, it's always with the Stark down there. So it's very likely that this is also a very serious conversation, which could in fact involve Jon's lineage and his better claim to the throne with Dany there.
What do you think, Keith? I mean, I don't know if you remember this exact quick beat from the trailer, but I mean, do you think this is the conversation between the two? Or do you think it's more just planning?
Oh, I think I do. Excuse me. Nick, like you said, it's all serious conversations in Winterfell take place in the crypts. And it's also followed relatively quickly by, from what I remember, we see Jon and Dany with dragons later. And I mean, it looks, at least to me, an awful lot like John is kind of gearing up to ride Rhaegal.
And that's his namesake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like I just have a feeling I can't.
So
I have
let's
nothing
touch
to
on
base
that,
it
Keith.
on.
where you brought it up, how we see them. It looks like they're north of the wall with the dragons. Do you believe that those moments are going to take place in probably episode 1 and 2, and that they're possibly looking for something up there? I mean, the dragons, they had like a little char pit going on, so it looks like they've been out in the wild at least for a bit of time. It's not like the dragons need to have a barbecue if they just leave the castle for a few hours. So I mean, do you feel like these two are looking for something? Again, are we going to get a new MacGuffin in this season where they're off to go look for the big equalizer before the Battle of Winterfell? I mean, other points I've seen about the trailer, where are the fucking dragons and Dany during the Battle of Winterfell? Did they just not show that? I mean, they showed everyone else. Are they holding back on those scenes? Because maybe she's off doing something with the dragons while they're there fighting at Winterfell. Because I know Jon is at least featured in the battle. I don't know. I was very curious to see what those two were doing by themselves, what appears to be north of the wall, with the dragons too. And like I said, it doesn't look like this is a day trip. I mean, it looks like the dragons had a little nest almost, and that's where they're cooking their food to go on and look for whatever they're looking for.
Okay. So they're out doing reconnaissance or
something. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to they're doing just that. They are the sentries, and they're trying to figure out how much time they have before the king gets to Winterfell. Or maybe they are looking. Maybe Sam busts out a legend that he dug up down at the Citadel. He's like, yo, here, there's this thing, and they use this to ultimately win. Maybe they're trying to find the last, if there's any children left. Who knows? I just find it curious that those two are out on their own, seemingly not around Winterfell at some point in time.
Right, especially.
And it doesn't look like they're out on a date either. This isn't like a picnic or anything.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a really ridiculously good question. And I kind of like the idea that you brought up of having that take place in the first episode or two. Maybe before, I don't know. Maybe before John finds out, has his little
right
heart to heart with Bran, or Sam, or fucking whoever. I have no idea who's gonna tell him.
Well, even it's just, I mean, who tells him? It's gonna fuck something up between him and Dany. I mean, there's just no way that they can just be like, just shrug it off. So that's where I feel like if they are still working together, maybe this is pre the big uh-oh.
Okay.
I'm the actual true heir. Your whole life is a lie, young lady. I still love you. It's kind of creepy, but hey, this is what our family does. I mean, this is part of our credo. We basically hook up with each other, so we shouldn't feel weird about that. I don't know. I'm gonna hate it. I mean, even Kit. I don't know if you guys read on EW. They put up new character shots, and the actors were tasked with writing one phrase about their character this season. And Kit pretty much said oh yeah, he had this the love of his life, and then he pretty much finds it's all false, and his world comes crashing down around him. So I think that kind of is going to sum up how that goes. I just think it's going to be more devastating for Dany than anybody. I think Jon's going to be Jon. He doesn't want to accept that responsibility. He doesn't want it. But there's a part of him that he always has wanted to be more than just a bastard. So maybe it'll go to his head. I don't know. But I think Dany, it's going to kill her. Because, I mean, her whole being and who she is now is based on the fact that she thought she had the true claim to the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's going to suck.
Stuff to think about. I'm not looking forward to that scene. I mean, as soon as it was confirmed that they're related and they were just starting to get on the same page and ready to work together and kick the Night King's ass, this happens. So it's like, fuck. All right. I was surprised that they gave Gendry a little little screen time in this trailer. I mean, they were trying. They made sure to include the big names that are still on the table, right, Nick?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And as we recall, Gendry is the Night King is the greatest javelin thrower. Gendry is the greatest marathon sprinter in
Yeah, I mean,
the entire
he's got to be
series.
half Kenyan.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, the last we saw of him was him collapsing right at the wall there where they came out and grabbed him as he warned them. So in this trailer, he's there doing what he was made to do. He was making armor, making weapons, presumably dragon glass. You alluded to it earlier, Matt. Maybe they find out the secret to make Valyrian steel. I know legend has it it's done with dragon fire, which they now have. What else goes
Wow,
with it? I don't know.
look at you. That was a great little nugget there.
Like that?
I mean, that just almost makes me feel like it's going down now.
So yeah. So I guess it is possible. But yeah, we see him, and I'm really looking forward to him and Arya getting back together, because they last they were together. Thoros had sold Gendry off to Melisandre so she could suck blood out of him.
True.
With the leeches. And,
I mean, talk about Arya reunions. We still haven't
Yeah.
seen Jon and Arya,
That's
Right.
going to be big. That's going to be awesome.
right? I mean, they were probably she was definitely the closest to him in that family. I know Rob was fairly close, but he was always just a bastard brother. But I really think Jon and Arya, they definitely had a special type of bond. I don't believe they've seen each other since the second episode of the first season.
Right.
Not since he hands over Needle.
Yep.
Yeah. So that'll be awesome. But no, I'm excited for the Gendry one too, because that was kind of Arya's initial thread, right? Was once she got out of King's Landing, she kind of ended up with these guys. So
Yeah. The real question is, does Hot Pie show up to feed all of Winterfell?
so they did bring that up in the
feast
Ringer
where
article,
everything's
right?
all happy ending, and Hot Pie's just out there serving loaves of direwolf bread.
Yes, that's exactly what I want.
Fuck it, Hot Pie for the Iron Throne. That's where I'm going for right now. Hot Pie for president. Yeah. So we also battle scene. More than likely, mostly Winterfell battle scenes. And as Nick recounted for us, I mean, it was a who's who of Game of Thrones players. I mean, Davos was there, Jorah's there, Grey Worm, Missandei, Jaime, the Hound, Arya, Brienne, Pod, Gendry's there, Jon's there. The only one, the main that we don't know, is Dany and the dragons, but that could just be maybe they're holding back. They didn't want to give us the big shebang. Maybe she comes in the dark and starts lighting people up. Who knows? But it is, as the EW article explained, I mean, this Battle of Winterfell is going to be something else. I don't know narratively if a damn near hour-long battle is going to make for good storytelling, but they haven't let us down with their battle episodes, right, guys? I mean, the battle episodes are typically pretty damn good, even though it's mostly people just going, rah, 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 hack, 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 bang, bang, clank, clank.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Because the EW article does a really good job of touching on one of the things that makes the Battle of Winterfell different from other battles that honestly, like they draw a comparison to the way that like the Marvel films are made, where a lot of these sort of very quick moments are filmed separately and then they're strung together in post and added with all kinds of different special effects. And you can tell when a battle sequence is edited together really, really quickly that it was shots. They were shot separately. And that is the opposite of how the Battle of Winterfell was shot. And what was it? A 12-week?
Yeah, 11 or 12 weeks straight
11 or
shoot.
12 weeks.
Only at night.
In freezing cold temperatures. Just unbelievably grueling conditions. Like I thought I was reading a press release for The Revenant.
It did sound horrible. I mean, Nick brought up that even Maisie, like this was her first battle scene, which is strange to think because she's the one Stark outside of the men that has just lusted for blood and death. Mm-hmm. And now she's going to get it, but she's like, damn, this thing sucked. Like physically and mentally, it sucked to do. I mean, we in that article, I guess the crew got special shirts like we survived the Battle of Winterfell and shit like that. So
yeah, but I love the fact that going back to the whole idea of narrative continuity. The director Miguel, oh god, I can't remember his last name.
It's like Sapatic or Sapachik or something. Like
yes,
that.
Sabachik, yeah. He would go around and like randomly ask the actors, like, what are you doing here? What have you been doing? And just kind of forcing the actors to remember that, you know, their character might not have been on screen for the last 10 or 12 minutes, but that character has sure as shit been doing something for those 10 or 12 minutes or, you know, in-universe hours or whatever. And I think that level of care and the attention that's being paid to sort of slowing things down and having moments where it's not just a series of quickly edited together set pieces. It's more I don't know, a story that's being told. It just happens to be told through a giant 80-minute battle.
Yeah, and that's what made the Battle of the Bastards so unique too. There were, you know, obviously for the majority of it, it focused on Jon, but there was a long section of it where it was just the follow camera. There were horses crossing in front of him, guys coming at him and then getting run over by a horse or stabbed by somebody else, and it's just one continuous shot, at least for that sequence there.
And didn't he do that one?
I think you're right. I think he did. It was
this guy. He's done Hard Home and The Bastards, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed those two battles, which I don't know anyone who didn't enjoy them, this one's going to be pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm gonna love it. I mean, anytime I get to see people get hacked apart and hopefully, you know, fricasseed, I'm all for it. I just with shows like this, Star Wars, you name it. I'm a lore freak. I love story development, world building, character building, learning more about where these people came from, why they're doing what they're doing, and where they're going. And I think we'll get that in this season, I hope. I'm still not happy that it's 6 episodes and this bullshit that they're going to be long. They're only 80 minutes. Get out of here. That's nothing special. It's been done before. Game of Thrones should be giving us 90-minute episodes. Fuck. All right. The Lannister kids. So, I mean, we got to see Jaime in the trailer. We got to see Cersei, a very brief shot of Tyrion. But Cersei, I think, and I believe, Keith, or you're the one that's been like, no way this bitch is pregnant. This is a con. And this trailer either confirms that or confirms it the other way, and that maybe she had a miscarriage. Because there's a shot in the trailer where she's kind of smirking and drinking. And we know at the end of season 7, she purposely was not drinking in front of Tyrion. And again, maybe that was just, as you said, this is all just part of her big bluff. You know, she was, I can't drink because I'm with child. And Tyrion will pick up on that and know that I'm a drunk, he's a drunk. If I'm not drinking, something must be up. He'll think I'm pregnant, blah, 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 blah. And then we get this clip that, like I said, it either confirms your theory or possibly maybe something happens to this evil child.
Or she just starts giving even fewer fucks than she already does.
Yeah, you're right. It is Cersei. I mean, I wouldn't put anything past her.
No, I honestly, I maintain the she's not pregnant, and the second she loses Jaime, the second when he bails to go up north, she doesn't have anybody to put on a show for anymore.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, why? Who cares if she's pregnant or not? I mean, outside of it furthers along her claim to the throne, I guess. But
exactly, there's absolutely like, does she need to convince Qyburn of anything? No. And like,
at this point, she has like no allies, like real allies that give a shit about her outside of leeching off of her power to become powerful themselves.
Yeah, there's.
I mean, the Iron Bank supports her only because they want their money back.
Right.
Yeah.
It just everyone around her could turn on her on a dime. I believe. I mean, no one once she lost Jaime, that was it. Like that's the last person I think that actually cared for her as a human being. The rest, they just they know that she can make them more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like she's alienated herself to a point that it may be her detriment, but you never know. It's Cersei. She's, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best game player, so she could surprise us, but she's definitely back to drinking again, which, big surprise. As Nick pointed out, maybe the other scene we get of her where she's wearing her battle dress, if you will, maybe she's getting ready to welcome the Golden Company. Jaime, so we actually get a quote for him, guys. Do you think this is his initial arrival at Winterfell where he's trying to sell to people like, listen, I know I'm a piece of shit. My family has really fucked over the North pretty hardcore, but I told those two down there I'm fighting for the living, and that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah, I think he's just reaffirming his promise that he made in the Dragon Pit. Even after the fact that he learns of Cersei's lies. She promises to help Jon with the battle up north, and obviously has no intention to. We see him rotting north. So yeah, I think this scene here, or this voiceover, is him just saying exactly what you said there, Matt. I screwed up. My family, everyone hates us, but I'm here now, and I want to basically make amends for all the terrible things he's done.
I have a feeling he's going to get a very chilly reception up at Winterfell, and I'm not just talking about the butt-ass cold weather. I don't think he has any fans there outside of Brienne, probably.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, Brienne's probably the one person that, maybe the only person that's seen Jaime
That's what I mean.
Vulnerable.
That's what I mean. I mean, none of them know that he's had this huge change that we know as viewers, but none of these Northmen know that he's a completely different man now.
Yeah. What about Tyrion, though?
Yeah.
Because he and Jaime have always had, like, a legitimately, like, genuine, close, brotherly relationship. And
I mean, they've helped each other throughout just this series. They've kind of gave each other assists. I mean, Jaime's the one that sprung him free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess.
So yeah, I mean, Tyrion knows that Jaime's had a bit of a change, right? I mean, they've ran into each other at least at the end of season 7. So
yeah, and my question with Jaime's quote is who specifically is he talking to? Like, is he sort of presenting himself to Jon and Dany, or is he? Is he having a conversation with Brienne or Tyrion?
Exactly. I think it's that, or it could even be like the Winterfell Council that Sansa was leading. It could be Sansa herself. I mean, I think it's people that would still look at Jaime Lannister as a snake in the grass. Like, how can we trust you? You've done this, and this. Because I mean, Jon and Dany, they've at least seen him, right? I mean, they saw him at that kind of the meeting of the minds in season 7. So I don't think he'd have to like convince himself to them again. I think he's trying to sell himself to those that don't know about his change.
Yeah.
And if there's one person that's shown second chances to other people, it's Jon.
Oh, of course. I mean, Jon can't stay mad at anyone for too long.
Yeah.
I mean, you give the Night King enough time, I think him and Jon could end up being buddies.
Does the Night King get more second chances than Alistair Thorne?
Exactly. Yeah, I guess that is one guy he wasn't a big fan of.
Yeah.
All right, so last but not least, we got our boy Tyrion. And you made a good point, Nick. He doesn't look like he's around any of the people we saw. He doesn't look like he's in Winterfell. He doesn't look like he's north of the Wall. He looks like he's on some sort of scorched earth.
Yeah, that's the one thing that kind of stuck out to me initially was, there's snow everywhere now. Tyrion is obviously outside somewhere, but it's brown dirt beneath him, or it could be ash if he's standing in one of the dragon's barbecue pits or something like that. But yeah, all we get is just a quick look of him looking up into the sky, and then that's it. That's all we get.
Do you think that's implying that? I mean, obviously he's going to be key in this season, but is that just kind of implying that maybe the whole Jon and Dany thing has turned him off a bit? Maybe he is going to plot against them. Who knows? I mean, is he out trying to scheme, or do you think maybe he's out on an errand for the good guys.
No, I don't see him turning this late in the game. He knows after his conversation with Cersei, that she's not going to help the battle up north, and um, I think he's pretty much made his change. We've seen his growth over the entire series. He went from smug, smart Alec to less smug, still smart Alec-y, but in a helpful way over the course of the series. So I think maybe the John and Danny thing hurt him a little bit, which we saw on the ship when they were knocking boots. But I still think there's life in the theory that Tywin isn't Tyrion's actual father, like the R plus J or R plus L equals J theory for John. I think there's something out there for Tyrion. So I'm holding out hope for that at least.
He's some Targaryen baby, maybe.
Yeah.
Who's it supposed to be with though?
The Mad King. The Mad King, and Tywin's wife,
Oh yeah,
Joanna,
that's right. That's right.
Which Joanna is actually Tywin's cousin. So you want to talk about families marrying each other? It dates back to the Lannisters as well. So the Mad King Aerys was apparently very easy when it came to hooking up with women, and did it as often as he could, and that included presumably Joanna. So there is a theory out there that Tyrion is not in fact a true Lannister.
That would be something.
Which would be some crazy foreshadowing when Tyrion shoots Tywin before he escapes King's Landing, and Tywin's basically last words to him said, "You are no son of mine."
Right. I mean, you could obviously.
Which could be the truth. Yeah.
It could mean multiple things. I mean, it works either way. Yeah, it's like I said. I mean, maybe that secret spawns some sort of revelation for everybody. But I still feel like there's going to be this big aha outside of Dragonglass and Balerion Steel.
Yeah, and if Tyrion can ride one dragon one time, I think it'll all be worth it.
That's all you want. I know that. I mean, if they just aired a 1-minute clip of him on a dragon, you'd be like, "Fucking yes! Season 8 is a success. I don't need to read the books. Fuck you, George. I'm out."
Even if it's at the very end, everything's done. We know who sits on the Iron Throne. The end credits are rolling, and it's just the credits rolling over Tyrion just flying in the sky. Like that's
the MCU scene, right? That's the mid credits little splash. That would be great. One day, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, visually, I would just like to see that now. Now that you bring it up, I can't get that visual out of my head.
Yeah.
And I wish they had all three again, so it could literally be Jon, Dany, and Tyrion riding through the sky as a pack of three, like with some never-ending story music playing behind it. The never-ending story. There you go. I just wrote the scene for you. That would be a perfect after-credits scene.
Time for some reshoots.
Yeah. Break out the budget. Break out the purse, HBO. We just fixed your credits problem. Not that you had one, but we're trying to write them for you. All right, guys, the trailer ends on a very ominous shot, as Nick brings up. It's clearly an undead horse. And as Nick is speculating, I don't believe it's the Night King either. It's probably his sentries. That's the shot of, okay, it's time to get this shit on, right? Like, it's time to fight.
Yeah, you'd think now that he owns a dragon, he wouldn't be riding around on a horse. At least I wouldn't.
Yeah, no way. That'd be a major downgrade. No way. I'm going with it. Is Longhair dead yet? Like the first ever White Walker we saw, did he get waxed at the Bran tree?
Didn't
he? I know. Maybe he's still around.
Jon killed one at Hardhome.
Yeah, I think that was the guy then. Because I felt like they've always, outside the Night King, they've had like that one main lieutenant, and I think he has at least one or two others now. But it was like the original, the first time we ever saw it, season 2 or 3? I mean, it's such a long time ago. Sam saw them.
And
Sam sees them at the end of 2,
Right.
and then kills one in 3.
And there's speculation as to how many White Walkers there are, or lieutenants, sentries, whatever you want to call them. So there could be as many as a dozen, or there could be more that we just don't even see at this point. Because you think about going back to season 2 or 3 with Craster's Keep and the male babies, and basically him giving them up. You know, over how many years he's been doing that, how many male babies have been born, you know, is anyone's guess.
True that. I mean, have we gone that's how the lieutenants are made then? They're the ones that are changed at birth?
I think so. I don't know what else that
would imply, right? No, I mean,
right.
let's run with it. Fuck it. If it's
right,
canon or not, we just made it canon.
Because all the other the whites themselves, they were all dead at one point, and now they're undead, basically zombies, so to speak. These lieutenants, these leaders are not that. They're full on, you know, a level down from the Ice King himself.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I don't know. I liked how it ended. I mean, I liked the trailer in general, but there were a few things missing, as Nick kind of brought up in our notes here. We didn't get any of the Greyjoys. I mean, we saw Euron's fleet, but we did not see him.
Yeah,
what do you think's up with that?
There's a chance if you pause it at the right spot on the Golden Company's section. There are a couple guys dressed in black. You can't see their faces, so we don't know if Euron's on that ship or another ship. We don't know 100% for certain if he's in that empty throne room with Cersei. But yeah, we don't see Theon. We don't see Yara. We left them. Yara was captured by Euron when Theon jumped overboard, running away from him. And Theon has a plan in place, or wants to put a plan in place at least to get her back some way, somehow.
I mean, it is kind of odd that they were not included. I mean, you figure between at least Euron and Theon, those are some fairly big plot threads that need to play out this season.
Yeah, certainly.
True.
Certainly. And we see Theon, going back to the Entertainment Weekly cover, we see Euron, we see Theon on it. I don't believe Yara is in that large group shot, but you think there would have, with all the people they showed, you think they would have been glimpses of at least one or two Greyjoys.
But I mean, it is sort of the first trailer, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm invested. I wouldn't necessarily say invested. I'm interested in the Greyjoy storyline, but that's like a tertiary at best plot.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt.
There's clearly a lot more important stuff that needs teasing than, oh hey, Theon rejoins his sister for the 5th time.
Yeah, no, they're side plots. They serve the main plots. I mean, that's all they are. They're just they're tools that are going to pay off. I mean, Theon, we would have to think, is probably going to redeem himself, saving his sister, or the Starks. I mean, that's where I would think he's going. But it is Game of Thrones. You never know. He could just get his head lopped off and he's gone.
And you mentioned earlier too, Matt, a lot of this trailer focuses on Winterfell itself. So it's no surprise really that Theon and Yara aren't necessarily in it if they're still not joined up with
she's down at King's Landing, right? I mean, because Euron paraded her through there in season 7. And
right.
We last saw him, where was he? Dragonstone?
Yeah, he was at Dragonstone with Jon when they were mining the Dragon Glass. He was had that talk with Jon in the throne room there about Sansa and apologized. And Jon basically told him, do what you got to do, go get your sister back.
Got you. Oh, yeah. You're right. That's where Jon was kind of like, yo, you fucked us over. I'm Jon. I'm not going to kill you, but get your head out of your ass, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, the only reason I'm not killing you is because Sansa's alive because of Theon.
Got you. That's what I thought. So another one missing from there, Bronn. I know that's Nick's. That's one of your favorite guys, right?
Oh yeah, love Bronn. Yeah, he was last seen at the Dragon Pit when everyone was meeting. Him and Pod kind of make themselves scarce, go off for a drink or to practice fighting some more. I don't know what, but Bronn is not seen at all in this new trailer. So presumably he's still in King's Landing because he's basically working for Cersei now.
Got you. But we know Pod is definitely up at Winterfell.
Right.
I mean, he gets a nice prime cut in the trailer alongside Brienne. Melisandre, I mean, she's been gone. Was it all of season 7 or basically the beginning of season 7? He kicked her ass out.
Most of season 7, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we got to see her again, right? Especially because we know Varys is back, and they kind of have some sort of history you can tell. I mean, and obviously she's been the mystical one that we've seen, and we know that she's legit. She's some old-ass lady. She definitely has some magic, so... And there's all, Azor High, all that shit. So, I mean, come on. Where is she?
Yeah, I don't know how she reintroduces herself back into Westeros in the story, but I'm very interested to see how that gets done.
Well, I mean, Jon basically said, if I see you again, you're dead, right?
Well, Davos said that to her as she was walking out.
Okay,
if I see you again, I'll cut your head off or slice your throat or whatever it was there. But yeah, he did not take her part in Shireen's burning very well.
Yeah. But she shows back up and is like amplifying the dragon fire.
Ooh.
That would be
because so I'm mid rewatch. I'm scrambling through and
oh, you son of a bitch. I you know what I've just done?
I caved so hard, man.
Did you do the full or just the 7?
Oh yeah. We're my fiance and I are currently 2 episodes into season 4.
Oh, you motherfucker, you even said you weren't gonna do it.
Yeah. I caved hard. I was like, I have a mighty need. But there's at least 3 different occasions when she mentions how had she been at the Battle of Blackwater, Stannis would have won. She would have been able to, affect the outcome of the battle. I don't know about you guys, but I can't see anything more fire related than dragons. And I have this odd feeling like she would be able to pull out some sort of mystical shit and turn these monstrous engines of destruction into just like roly-poly balls of flaming doom.
Well, that's kind of what I've been saying, right? I mean, I believe that the good guys need something more than what we already know they have. There's got to be some sort of equalizer, because I mean, the Night King can snap his fingers and create fresh forces. Basically, anything he kills, he can bring to his side, be it beast, man, whatever. They need someone of that level. I mean, there's Bran too. We forgot. I mean, he's supposedly one of the most mystical motherfuckers in Westeros now, right? I mean, he is the three-eyed raven, so you would think he's got some serious powers, and maybe he does something. But I agree. I mean, I believe she could definitely amp up those flame breathers, if anything else.
Yeah. Do you think Tyrion's across the Narrow Sea using magic time travel power to drum up an army of red priests and priestesses
that'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, like the mages come in, they got their hoods on, they're like throwing fire out of their hands.
Well, and I'm thinking, like the Night King can bring people back from the dead.
Yeah, well, so can Azor, or so can what's his name? I mean, the Lord of Light.
Yeah, don't the good guys need their own set of Phoenix Downs?
Well, I mean,
exactly, dude.
We lost Thoros last season when they were attacked by that undead bear. He was the one that kept bringing Beric back.
I know.
And Melisandre so far has brought Jon back once. Whether that's something she can replicate. Maybe we'll see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
I just imagine her out on the battlefield, running around to everybody and just saying a quick spell, running over here, quick spell over there, like you're reviving a teammate in a video game.
Yeah.
No, man, she's gonna bust out the Nimbus 2000 or 3000, whatever it is, and fucking broom her ass around. She's gonna be like playing Quidditch or something. I'm with you on this next one, Nick. Where's the fucking dogs at? Where are the dire wolves? Where is Ghost?
Where is Ghost? That's the question. Yeah, I was really hoping to see him in the trailer, but I guess maybe they spent too much CGI money on the dragons. They didn't want to throw Ghost in there. But I just hope the direwolves don't get shortchanged in this final season. They love their battles. I want full Ghost in bloodlust mode.
And
Yes.
we're down to just Ghost and Nymeria, right?
Yeah, and whether Nymeria reappears again.
And I'd be
I'm
okay
not
with the way
holding-
they handled that last.
Yeah,
season.
it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see Nymeria anymore. If we do, that would be amazing, fighting alongside her brother. But
That's where Ghost is. He's looking for the pack.
yeah, could be. There was one I just want to throw in real quick that I forgot to put on this list before we get to the next one. But there's no Dothraki in the trailer. I just remembered that. We see the Unsullied,
Holy shit, you're right.
but we don't see any Dothraki. So are they in Winterfell as well? Did Dany send them somewhere else? Yeah, but we
Good
don't
point.
see
I did not even think
warriors
about
there.
that.
Yeah,
Because that's a pretty big contingent of her army, right?
right.
I mean,
It's like the most deadly contingent of her army.
exactly. I mean, those are the war riders or whatever the fuck they are. I mean, you
They
get
might
them on
have
a
been
horse.
inside
and they're-
around a fire trying to get warmed up because they're not used to the cold, maybe. But
yeah,
okay.
they're probably not wearing shirts either.
right.
Yeah, that's a damn good question. I bet they are being stashed somewhere. Maybe they're
Yeah.
going to be the backup to trick Cersei or something. Like they already know that Cersei's going to fuck them. They're just like, hey, you guys just chill out. When you see these assholes in gold armor show up, just mow them down with your horses. Thanks.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe Jamie lets them know.
Yeah,
He shows
something
up and he's
that.
like, "Hey, as a sign of good faith, let me
Oh,
tell you
Jamie's
about
gonna
the
have
plan."
to. I mean, there's no way Jamie does not tell them that. Hey, my sister's fucking nuts. She still thinks that it's all about power in King's Landing. So there's that. There's a good chance she's probably gonna try to attack us while we're getting beat on by the King of the Dead. Because that's what Cersei does. I mean, that's who she is. She loves her power. Doesn't matter. As long as she's in charge, doesn't matter who she's ruling over. She would be happy ruling over a wasteland.
Yeah, with as long as she has her wine.
Exactly. She's got her booze and she can sit on the throne and say that she won the game. I really think that's all she wants. I won the game. I beat the prophecy. Fuck you.
What's interesting is that's basically what Varys said about Littlefinger, is that he would see the country burn if he could be king of the ashes.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally. And I think they were very similar. I mean, I had a lot of respect for his game too. He just shit the bed when he thought he could be.
He thought
could
he was
slip around
smarter
the
than
kid.
Sansa and
Exactly.
Arya together.
Exactly. All right, so the last missing from the trailer note that Nick found, and it was a good one, the reeds, right? I mean, Mira, Peast, Howland knows what's up. I mean, he was there with John at the or with Ned at the tower.
right. Yeah, so he's even with Bran's visions and be able to see, hey, John, these are who your parents are. People will still need proof. And, in this day and age, a person's word is their bond, or, a word is taken at truth unless you're Cersei. So to bring in Howland Reed to confirm what happened at the Tower of Joy with Lyanna Stark and, the secret marriage. Obviously, Sam found the book, or excuse me, Gilly found the book that showed the nullification of the wedding and the secret wedding that was held in place, that completely changes the whole semblance of the story itself. Everyone's fighting over lineage for something that didn't actually happen the way everyone was told.
What if Danny's like, fake news?
Collusion, witch hunt.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Just like, that's our lives, so it's just like built in my head now.
Yeah.
Spit it out. All right. Well, I mean, I really enjoyed this trailer because it was one of those trailers that showed a ton of stuff but didn't show a damn thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we ate up almost an hour here, but that's what fans do. I mean, I don't think without Nick's pregame notes we probably even went that long, because the trailer, unless you really studied it and took some time to break it down, it's just kind of like Game of Thrones. Thrones is coming, and then you're like, yeah,
like a hype video, yeah.
Exactly. So, but there was some good stuff in there. I can't wait to see some of these scenes play out when the show returns on the 14th. And you know when that happens, our happy asses will be in these seats post episodes to recap, review, break down, analyze, and speculate where things are going to go as the show makes its way to episode 6, the finale, the end of Game of Thrones. All right, boys, did we miss anything? I don't think so, but throw it out there.
Yeah, I think we covered everything we could cover in a 2-minute trailer.
Rock and roll, rock and roll. That's how we do it. All right, people, we appreciate you listening to Thrones Time on the EB Podcast Network. We're going to try to get some other shows going on. You never know. I mean, we did rip Star Wars Time out. It's on its own network. If you were a Star Wars fan, you can head on over there. But we are here for Thrones Time. Maybe we'll get some Marvel time going on, some comics time, some games time. It's going to be time for something because we've got all the time in the world. Or we pretend to. That's why we sleep 4 hours a day, at least me. All right, my friends, it's been real. Always enjoy talking Thrones with you two boys. Always talking about it and breaking it down for you people, you other fans. Here we go, April 14th. It's within sight. Bring on the battle. But also bring on some lore. All right, people. Winter is here.